welcome back to Ken's Cardboard. This is part 3 in a series of my top 100 favorite cards in my collection. We are down to cards number 60 through 41. So let's get started with that. Let me first mention that we're going to see a mix of vintage, which there are 45 graded cards in this top 100. You're going to see a mix of baseball. 62 baseballs are in the top 100 baseball cards, 22 hockey cards, 13 football cards, 2 racing cards, 1 basketball card, which was 61. Caitlin Clark. 25 autographs. So you probably see some autographs today. And as I mentioned, 25 vintage cards that are in my collection. So I have way more modern cards in my collection, but this time maybe I'll see some more vintage. Who knows? Maybe it's spread evenly. I can't know. But first off, in the background here we have a lithograph from Lauren Taylor. This is officially signed by Lauren Taylor. She's an artist. You're familiar with her. She paints on pieces of wood. Great images of players. I met her at the National in 2021 and bought these offline from her catalog. This is numbered out of 100, and I had them sent to me in the mail. That was pretty cool to chat with her for a little while. She also has a license with Topps and made some cards with them as well. So first up on my list here is one of my favorite cards from my childhood, which I never owned. I opened a lot of 1990 Score, never got this card out of there, but as soon as I got back into the hobby, this is one of the first cards I purchased. The Bo Knows black and white baseball and football card. Love it. Bo Jackson, all-time great sportsman, I guess you would call it. Back to the patches here with number 59. This is another exquisite collection. I love the exquisites. They have great patches. They have great foil. This has a little bit of Dufex technology on the side over here. 3-color patch, but this is numbered out of 49. So a little hockey card there. Cale Makar. Next up, I think that was my second Clayton Kershaw card that I have. I bought this another eBayer who was going through consolidating his collection, and thought I might add this to my collection. This is SGC Authentic Clayton Kershaw. I met Kershaw one time in Arizona during a spring training game I was going to. I was before the game in the parking lot nearby. I was eating Chipotle, and he came in with his son, and they were going to eat Chipotle, then go to Target and get some stuff for their kids or whatever. So we were back in my car, and he was. I was just going to move this back a little bit here. And we were getting ready to get my glove and everything else to get ready to go to the game. And he walked right by my car, and I saw him at Chipotle as well. But then he walked right by the car and asked for a photograph. I did not get his autograph, but I have his autograph here, so I just ran to get the photo. So took a selfie with him. He's tall. All right, back to the 2011 Topps cards. Oh my gosh, the Cognac are the sparkliest. They're most rainbow sparkle. Topps only did this Cognac one time in their Diamond Anniversary series. You can see up in the right there. These are not numbered, but they are beautiful when the light shines on them right. Look at that. Charlie Blackmon without a beard. Rookie card from 2011. Love it. You see more 2011s coming up in my collection. God, look at the shine on that thing. Shout out to my buddy Brad, 8671. He sent me this beautiful Larry Walker card here. I love Pristine. They have a lot of good foil, shiny cards, autographs, certified autograph here, game used. This is not during the player time frame because this is from 2022, but Just love the shine on this card. Look at that foil action. Nice Larry Walker autograph. Larry, loved watching him play. That guy can chuck the baseball from outfield to home. Beautiful. Okay, this last year, 2024, I started. No, I think it was 2023. I started collecting the 1978 Topps set. And this was the first year I opened a pack of cards when I was a kid. I didn't open very many packs, I maybe 2 or 3 packs. It really got me started collecting baseball cards. 1979, I ended up completing the whole set. I bought a lot more packs that year because I actually knew what baseball cards were. At the time, I was when these came out, I was 7 years old. So, anyways, this is one of my favorite cards from that set. I am collecting the Hall of Famers, All-Stars from that set, and award winners like Cy Young and Rookie of the Year, MVP, that kind of thing. I think it's about 65 to 70 cards that I'm collecting out of the set. I probably have like 50 of them. I need 20 more or so. But Eddie Murray, just love the image on this card. One of my favorites of the set. I have one more coming up, I think, in my collection, my top 100. Oh boy. Back in 2019, I'm telling you to tell this story before, I'll tell it again, but I was watching Jab's Family open boxes of baseball cards. I started watching Jab's Family because I was ball hawking, which is going to baseball games ahead of the game during batting practice and catching baseballs in the outfield. And Jabs is John Jabs is the job. He would also collect baseballs at games, and he had videos of him showing him collecting those. And he started showing baseball cards, and it's like, oh, baseball cards are a thing on YouTube. I went out and bought 2 jumbo boxes of 2018 Topps Update. I opened one. I think I paid like $200 a box. Yeah, I think it was around just under $200 or something like that. Which I don't know how much they cost nowadays. Probably 3 times as much. But I opened one box and I got, I think, 2, maybe 3 gold cards, including this one here, this Shohei Ohtani rookie card. At the time, I heard of Ohtani, didn't think much of him. He didn't really start playing that much in 2017. You can see here he had 65 games. Didn't seem to be anything special, but started to get graded. Ended up getting an 8.5, but still love that I picked this out of a pack. Got a little ding up in the right-hand corner there. My Ohtani, one of my Ohtanis. All right, the first card I picked up when I got back into baseball is this card right here. I told my wife I had some money that I had in the stock market that I was just messing around with. It was about $5,000, and I was going to buy some baseball cards instead of spending time in the stock market. So this was one of the cards I bought. I started buying cards of all MVP players, and so I bought like Altuve and Stanton and Cy Young guys like DeGrom, stuff like that. And this was one of the cards I wanted. I actually bought 2 of these. My goal at the time was to buy 2 and wait till they go up and then pay for one of these. That's kind of my theory. A little bit of investing as I was thinking about it. I also bought a Sandy Koufax rookie card, but I'll have that story a little bit later. So I bought this in 2019, about, I don't know, March or April, somewhere around that time. Come around 2020, in February, in April of 2020, what was going on, the pandemic at that time, this card was like going for over $3,000 at that time. So I was like, well, maybe it's a good time to sell now. I don't know how much higher it's going to be than that. I ended up selling my second version of this card for $2,800 on the eBays. So I definitely paid for that card. I ended up paying $700 for that card when it came out, when I got it in 2019. So happy to have that one in my collection. Oh, similar to the Bo Jackson card. As a kid, I wanted this card like nobody's business. This is the F-Face card. 89 Ripken. Everybody's familiar with this card if you grew up in the I was a fan of baseball in the 80s as a teenager. I wanted this card all day long. When I got back into the hobby, picked it up. So got to have one of these in the collection. Love that card. Classic. Oh, back to the 2011 again. I just had 2011 with Trout. Another 2011. This is the Hope Diamond version. Topps 2011 Diamond Anniversary. These are the blue parallels. These are almost as shiny. I don't know, they're probably just as shiny as the Cognacs, but the collector that had a bunch of these for sale, I don't know if he broke up a whole set. I think you can only, I don't know if he bought these in a set or if they came in packs. I don't remember how they came, but love the foil on this. It's different. It doesn't have the logo like you know, the Trout does in the corner, but now you got the Blackman. Which one of these is shinier? Can you tell me? I don't know. But anyways, these are the Hope ones. These are numbered out of 60. Yeah, 60. So a stack of 2011s there. That was card number 51. So now we're into the top 50. All right, getting back to some vintage here. This is my most recent Jackie Robinson edition, 1954 Topps. Looked for a centered version, one that doesn't have any snowing on it. A lot of times there's snowing on his face. This is not my favorite image of Jackie. I don't like that he's kind of looking up to the right like that. He does have a great smile. I do like the dual images on the card. I do like this set. The 54 Topps is one of my favorite sets. It's got the Hank Aaron rookie. It's got the Al Kaline rookie. It's got the Ernie Banks rookie, Tommy Lasorda rookie. But, you know, still a great Jackie card to have in my collection. But not my favorite image. Picked that up off of eBay. Here is a card that another vintage card, but going to hockey this time. Card number 49. 49. This is the 1954-55 Parkhurst Gordie Howe. The Red Wings. I showed a Gordie Howe card earlier on the Whalers. This card's got a little ding in the corner, but can barely see it. I love, again, the faded colors of this. Got the red star, kind of like, looks like a Russian star on there, but obviously Gordie Howe is not a Russian. Got this at the National in Cleveland. After I bought another big card there, I had some money left over because I didn't end up spending as much money on my big card, so I had some money for a vintage hockey, and I found this beautiful Gordie Howe that was in a case that had $1,000 hockey cards in, and the guy, I worked a deal with the guy, and I got this for $300, and I was super happy about that. So, very cool. Speaking of the image in the background, Nolan Arenado. Here is Nolan Arenado's rookie 2013 Topps Chrome autograph. Picked this up at a card show in Denver, and I don't think I paid any money for it. I think I traded a couple of Ohtani rookie cards that were 10s and some other cards, and I made a trade for this is not the refractor version. I've been thinking about upgrading to the refractor version of this card. But nice to have the Arenado rookie autograph in the collection. Let me take a drink of water. Whew. Next up, we got another more vintage. Again, I think back in my last video I had a Ken Dryden card. This is Ken Dryden's rookie card from 1971-72 Topps. This is the ultimate 70s looking card with the different colors. The Canadians. Ken Dryden, again, as I mentioned before, one of the greatest goalies. Wanted to get this iconic card from the 71-72 Topps set. Sometimes these are hard to get centered left and right. This is a little bit off, but pretty good for a 6, which is kind of like, you know, mid-grade for vintage cards is good for me. Nice Ken Dryden. Oh, back to patch cards again here. So I went to a card show earlier this year in Denver. couple dealers that sell exclusively hockey cards, and I saw this card in there, and I had, you know, a couple $100 sitting in my wallet, burning a hole in my pocket, and I could not pass this up. So one of the things I've been doing is collecting players from the 2022 Stanley Cup winning Avalanche team, and all 4 of these players were on that team at that time. This is Ultimate Collection, one of my favorite designs. That and Exquisite are my 2 favorites, I think, out of Upper Deck. Ultimate Collection and Exquisite Collection. This is numbered out of 15. A lot of shine on it. We got, you know, McKinnon, Makar, Rantanen, Landeskog, all with patches. So beautiful patch card. People who like the patches, that's a sweet card. My first patch card ever is coming up, and it is of one of my favorite football players of all time, Mr. Ed McCaffrey. This is a nameplate card with the curved edges. This is before one touches. These are screw down. I still have this in this screw down here, Ultra Pro. Game worn patch from Fleer Platinum. Nameplates 2003, 2002 Fleer, I guess. These are numbered out of 240. Shout out to Brad, who loves his patch cards. These, you know, back then when you got most of them, they were just jersey cards, but this is more of a patch, and they were hard to find, and they got stuck in collections, and they're still sitting there. But that's my first patch card, and it got me hooked on patches. I was buying a bunch of jersey cards of McCaffrey back in early 2000s, but when I was collecting then, and then I took a break for a while. Ooh, next up is an autograph, non-baseball or hockey card. Here we go. We got the Race King, the king himself, Richard Petty. Donruss Optic, as I mentioned before, love the Optic cards. This card, so I was watching a bunch of TTM videos, and I heard that Richard Petty does a lot of TTMs, and he's really fast at returning them. I went online, picked up, I didn't have any Richard Petty cards, and I went online and picked up this, and I saw Race Kings, and this card epitomizes Richard Petty, man. But they got the cowboy hat, it's STP uniform, it's got a super shiny card, and then he signs it with a white ink. Oh man, when he sent this back to me, I was impressed with what it looked like, and it's one of my favorite cards in my collection. There you go, Race King, Richard Petty. Beautiful card, in my opinion. Sunglasses. I've seen Richard Petty a few times at NASCAR races that I've been to in person. I don't go to NASCAR anymore, but I still do, you know, have the memories of that. And all right, got another autograph coming up. I picked this up from the 2021 National. Gypsy Queen is no longer a product. The Fanatics does not. They dropped this product a couple years ago, which kind of sad in a little way, but you know, some products had to go, and Gypsy Queen was one of them. But there's still some great cards you can find in Gypsy Queen, and I have, I think, more coming up in my collection. I was looking for a Bo Bichette autograph at the National, and I was going around the show looking for cards, and I saw this on the table, and I don't think the guy, you know, he didn't have like a lot of Bichette cards or anything like that. I think he had a lot more Chrome cards. He must have got this in a trade or something. But these are numbered out of 150, and I think I ended up trading for this card because I was pretty much out of money by the time I got this. I'm somehow worked out a trade with this guy, but picked up that Bichette. I love the Gypsy Queen with the. They take a photo of the card of a player, and then they kind of like turn it into like an artist rendering. It's not a complete photo. They use some computer effect to it. But I just love the style of the Gypsy Queen cards, and the autographs are on card always, which is awesome. Sticker autos, not good. No like it a sticker. So we're coming up to what card number? I got 2 left here. This would be card number 42. Last year at the National as well in Cleveland. This one table, this guy had 90s cards coming out for days in his, I don't know how many cases he had. Probably had like 8 tables. And like, I had never seen this card before, never heard of this subset, Playoff Illusions, Spectre Illusion Dominion, crazy name. Playoff obviously doesn't make cards anymore. They may have never been bought out by somebody, but I saw this card in a 9, and I think it was like, I don't know, hundreds of dollars. Then he had to, below the stack that he was showing in his case, he had this card, and it was a 4. Like, I don't know what makes this card a 4, but I like the way it looks, and I'm gonna buy it because it was only like, I think I paid $50 for it. He was charging $65. So Dan Marino, my favorite football players of all time. Before Ed McCaffrey, when in the Broncos, I was a Dan Marino fan. Dolphins. Last up, number 41. We have another vintage card, Mr. Sandy Koufax from the 1960 Topps set. Again, I mentioned earlier, I showed you my Drysdale. I love this set design. I picked this from my friend Tom. I met him at the National in Cleveland. He sells cards, and I ended up, I don't know where we picked this up, but I ended up making a deal with him on this card. He gave me a good price. Add it to my 1960 Topps Dodgers collection. I'm going through, collecting Dodgers cards from the 50s up through 1982, when my dad was a Dodgers fan. And I was a Dodgers fan up until, mid 80s, until I moved to Northern California in 1985. So grew up in LA and used to go to Dodgers games. So there you go. There is episode number 3 down to card number 41 of my collection. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care. Peace.